pastor as worship pastor. I'm the worship pastor at Harvest Bible Chapel. It's me. We have worship leaders, we have administrators, we have amazingly gifted people, but I'm the worship pastor. And as I look into our Harvest Bible Chapels, I see a lot of people who are pastoring churches. They just don't get that. They're everything from, they have absolutely no idea what's going to go on in the worship service. They're seeing it for the first time when they sit there. All the way to guys who have been through countless worship services. They have no input on it, no thoughts about it. That I'm sure I'm the preacher guy. The preacher guy, let him do his job. That's a really bad plan. It's just a really, really bad plan. And I could just tell you that I've had, through 20 years, 5, now a 6th primary leader in the worship department. One of the reasons why that's been a strain is because I insist on being very involved. And you say, well, that's got to be a weakness. It is a weakness in some ways. In some ways, it creates a problem. And this is such a little insight, but this is said in the hallways of Harvest every day. Choose the problems you want to manage. That's what a leader's doing. And so what problem do I want to manage? A worship service that I'm unhappy with, or the strain of a worship pastor who feels that I'm encroaching? Because I'm going to be dealing with one or the other. Either I'm going to be unhappy with a service, or maybe the worship pastor might be unhappy with me. So I've decided to deal with maybe the worship pastor might be unhappy with me. Furthermore, with one of our worship pastors sitting right here in the front row, he might be unhappy with me for good reason. Okay? I might have too much energy about a part of it. I might be truly encroaching and not empowering him. I've made all of those mistakes. All right? But at the end of the day, I'd rather manage the tension between me and the worship pastor as we knock down, drag out, make this service as great as it can be, than have some sweet, harmonious autonomy that doesn't put the impact of the service and the blessing of the people as the highest priority. That's the thing that's got to rock. And as servants on the team, we have to bear with the fallout of choosing the problem that we want to manage. It's hard for me to see, I don't know what you're like, but I don't see stuff super great till it's right here. That's the way I'm in sermon prep, and so I can say, well, yeah, that's generally a good service plan. But when my message is done, especially as it relates to the close, I don't want the close of the service picked until I know what my song is going to, until I know what my sermon is, which sometimes that's Friday, sometimes that's Saturday. And it took me a long time to just get to the place where I said, deal with it, worship leader. You're not going to know the close till 3 hours before, 6 hours before, 9 hours before. I preach in a lot of other churches, and I can't believe how many church services, they just sort of wing it at the end. I can't believe still how many places I preach where the worship guy sits there and flips through a songbook while the guy's preaching. Well, maybe we'll do a bit of this. Are you kidding me? The whole week, the whole service, the whole sermon is driving to that moment. And you don't want to know exactly what's going to happen? Not just what's going to happen, but all the little seams in between what's going to happen and how you're going to sew it all together. That's the most powerful moment of the week. Everything's been going for that. But see, I want to pass the baton at the end of the service to someone. Don't talk. You see it in the service this morning? My son Luke so gets this. He's such a blessing. I just prayed, and then all of a sudden we were singing. But what I've learned is between me and my worship pastor, I've got to have a welcome mat out in front of that person, professionally, personally, in every way. I got to have that. And I wish that I was more mature in the way that I rang the doorbell. And I need to work with a person in that spot who always swings the door open and says, want to talk about me, want to talk about us, want to talk about the worship service. It's a very high demand position. Now I have Rory Nolan. He's been like God's gift to me because he is your agenda, period. You are the worship pastor. He teaches the people in the department. James is the worship pastor. We've restructured our church in such a way that different people are over different departments, and I held the worship department outside of that structure for myself. That's how big of a deal I think this is.